Hi, I'm Paul Kyogan from GK Tuition, and in this video I want to talk to you about algebra. Now the question I've chosen to go through is 2015 Paper 1 Question 2. In this question we're given a cubic equation and we're asked to solve the equation, and we're asked to leave any irrational numbers in the form of a plus b root c. Now you should know straight away that a cubic equation has 3 roots. So that means if I'm asked to solve this, I need to find the 3 roots of this cubic. Now since we don't know any of its roots, in order to find the first one, the only thing we can do is actually just do trial and error. Just pick random numbers until one of them works. So the first value we'd always try in that case is 1. So basically the first thing I want to do is I want to see if x equals 1 is a root. So that means that instead of an x I'm going to sub in a 1, and then hopefully everything's going to cancel each other out. So let's just try that now. Okay, so as you can see, in this case, when I subbed in everywhere there was an x, I subbed in a 1, and everything cancelled out. I ended up with 0 equals 0. And because everything cancelled out, that means that x equals 1 is a root. Now, obviously, this one worked out nice enough. If that hadn't worked out, I would have had to continue on. So if everything hadn't cancelled out here, and if x equals 1 wasn't a root, the next thing I would have done is I would have subbed in x equals minus 1. And if that hadn't worked, I would have subbed in x equals 2. Then I would have tried minus 2, then 3, and then minus 3. So I'd always start off with 1, then minus 1, 2, minus 2, 3, minus 3, until basically everything cancels out, until you stumble upon your first root. Now once we have our first root, we want to convert this into a factor. So if x equals 1 is a root, in order to get the factor, you want to bring the 1 across the equal sign. So if x equals 1 is a root, that means that x minus 1 is a factor. So I know now that x minus 1 is one of my factors. If I know one of the factors, I can find the other factors by long division. So once I know x minus 1 is a factor, if I divide x minus 1 into my original equation, I'll get the other factors. Okay, so when we're doing our long division now, make sure you follow your 4 steps. So when I divide x minus 1 into this, I'll find my other factors. So the first thing is to divide. You divide the first thing here into the first thing in my square root. So x into x cubed will go x squared times. My second step is to multiply. So I'm going to multiply what's on top of the square root by these two terms. So x squared multiplied by x is x cubed. X squared by minus 1 is minus x squared. My third step then is to subtract. And if I'm going to subtract, I need to change my signs, which means this becomes a minus and this becomes a plus. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0, minus 3x squared plus 1x squared is minus 2x squared. And then the fourth step is to take down my next term, and my next term in this case is minus 9x. And now I can just start the process all over again. So I'm going to divide x into minus 2x squared, because minus 2x times. Minus 2x by x is minus 2x squared. Minus 2x by minus 1 is plus 2x. And in order to subtract, we have to change our signs. So in this case, this becomes a plus and this becomes a minus. Minus 2 plus 2 is 0. Minus 9 is minus 11x. And I take down my last term, which is plus 11. Start the process all over again. X into minus 11x is minus 11. Minus 11 by x is minus 11x. Minus 11 by minus 1 is plus 11. And now I can just change my signs. So I get a plus here and I get a minus here. Everything cancels and I'm left with 0. So I divided my original factor x minus 1 into my equation, and I got x squared minus 2x minus 11. So if I solve this quadratic equation, I'll be able to find my other 2 roots. But at this stage, you should recognize that I need to solve this quadratic equation, and I know that my answers are going to be irrational, because it told me in the question that some of the answers are irrational. So straight away, you should recognize that this is going to be the minus b formula. In order to get answers in this form, I'm obviously going to have to use the minus b formula to solve this quadratic equation. Okay, so as you can see now, I've subbed into my minus b formula to solve this quadratic equation. So if you're subbing into a formula, always make sure you actually write the formula down first. So the first thing I do is write out my formula. A equals 1, b equals minus 2, and c equals minus 11. And when you solve your minus b formula, you get 1 plus or minus 2 root 3. I was asked to leave my answers in the form of a plus b root c, where a, b, and c are elements of z. Z being the integers, which are whole numbers. So clearly all of these are whole numbers, so I'm happy enough with the form. Now, I'd always just, the very last thing you should write should be the answer to your question. The question said, solve this cubic, which means I need to find the 3 roots. So the very last thing you should write down are the 3 roots of your cubic. Okay, so I hope this video made sense. If you're unsure on any of that, then just let me know in class during the week or send me an email and I'll try and explain it differently.